everybody, it's Chris Seeds, Wootini from GayGamer.net, here with another weekly video podcast. This week I want to start off by talking about a movie that I saw. Because remember back in the day when the summer movie blockbusters actually were released in the summer? And Memorial Day weekend was the big, that was where the biggest blockbuster was, and everyone jockeyed for position to release their movie on Memorial Day because that was the start of the summer blockbuster season. Well, now they're not. It's only May, and we've already had SpiderMan, and we're going to get Godzilla, and we're going to get X-Men before Memorial Day even starts. So, anyway, SpiderMan, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out, and I didn't really care for it. It's not a terrible movie. It's not. I mean, it has a lot of problems, but there's a lot of really good stuff in it. There are some really wonderful scenes, and thankfully this time I was okay with the Peter and Gwen relationship, because in the first movie I feel like it happened off camera, and suddenly in The Amazing Spider-Man, they meet cute and whatever, and then suddenly they're completely in love and he's telling her his secret identity, and I'm like, wait, what? Because I feel like a lot of their relationship in the first movie happened off camera, whereas here you're coming in and they've been dating, so it's happened in between movies and such, and so it's fine that it was off camera. And, you know, they have great chemistry and they're just terrific together, and they've got some really nice scenes, and there's some really nice scenes between Peter and his Aunt May, played by Sally Field, but overall the script is kind of a mess, and I feel like they should have done a couple more passes before they actually filmed it. Especially when you're talking about this much money, you'd think you'd want to have a really solid script. But there are too many plot threads going on. There's different villains, and characters don't show up for an hour into the movie, and suddenly you're like, oh, okay, and so this is another plot thread that we're going to deal with? Okay. And then I'm trying not to spoil anything. But there's certain things that, get a lot of screen time, there's certain things that don't get much screen time at all, and it's kind of a mess, and it doesn't really hold together well. And I also wasn't crazy about what they did with Electro, the character of Electro. I mean, the powers look really cool and stuff, and I didn't mind the look of the character. You know, I don't need him to have the cheesy, comic book costume with the electric bolts coming out of his head. But, they just, I don't know, it just didn't hold together for me. So, the emotional scenes at the end of the movie didn't have as much heft as I think they would have if the movie had been structured better and had a better linear, just follow through, because there's a lot of dead space. Which I feel bad for the families that bring their little kids to see a Spider-Man movie, because with these superhero movies, they're 2.5 hours long, and you're going to get a half an hour of really fun superhero action, but you're going to get 2 hours of, talking where the kids get restless. As far as games go, obviously I've been playing more Disney Magical World, still. And I have discovered, there is kind of a point to the internet stuff, because you can visit random cafes or your friends' cafes, and while you can't actually do anything in there except look at how they've decorated it, all you can do is exchange likes with them, but exchanging likes with them does unlock clothing, so there is something to that. So, and then people will come visit your town and you can get the trading cards off them and stuff, so that's kind of helpful. So I've been visiting random internet cafes in Disney Magical World just to build up those likes. Also, I have finished all the quests, and I've got a lot of stickers now. I haven't quite gotten to 100. The last few stickers are going to be kind of hard to get. Now that I'm done with all the quests, and I'm only going to go back to quests in order to get more ingredients to do what I got to do to get the other final stickers, it'll be interesting to see how much longer I hold out, because they just released some Pirates of the Caribbean DLC, which I don't care about Pirates of the Caribbean, but it opens up another world, and you can actually go on more quests there. So I'm like, it's only $4 and I can play more quests. That could might be worth it. I don't know. I've also been playing Infamous 2, again, in dribs and drabs. Though I find it works in dribs and drabs, because the missions are still fun to just do a couple of missions here and there, and then, you know, take a break and then come back and do a couple more missions, whatever. And I don't feel like I'm losing the thread of the story. I can still follow it, it's fine. It's not like other open world games where, like, I get so distracted by doing all the side stuff that I never get back to the main story. But I've also gotten to the point now where they've introduced new powers, and I'm just like, wait, I like the electric powers. Why would I want to use ice powers? And then I'm like, I'm sure they kind of work the same way, but I'm just like, you know, I like the electric stuff. I don't know how I feel about the ice powers. So, and I also feel like if you're going to do this in a game where you're going to introduce new powers, maybe do that at the beginning, because I feel like I'm about like 2/3 of the way through it. Like, I'm well past the halfway point, I think, and suddenly I have new powers to choose from, and I'm like, nah, I don't really care. Also, even though I am playing Infamous 2, there was a sale on PlayStation Plus where you could get the Tales of Symphonia Chronicles for $10. And that includes 2 games, Tales of Symphonia and the sequel, Dawn of a New World, I think it's called. And so you get 2 games for $10, 2 big RPGs. So I'm like, that's a good deal, even though I heard that the second one is not as good as the first. It's probably worth $10 to play the first one. But at $5 a game, how could I say no? I do love a good RPG. And I did start it just to see, even though I should finish Infamous 2. I just wanted to see what it was like, so I just played it for a little while. And I love, you know, the cartoony art style is great. But it was funny to me because the first enemy that you encounter, the game is like, oh look, it's an enemy, let's fight it. But then there's no tutorial on, like, what buttons to push to do that. So, and then I realized, I'm like, oh, this is from, like, this is a port of a PlayStation 2 game turned high def. So that's why, like, back then they had instruction booklets, and people would read the instruction booklets to find out how to play the game. But nowadays, they don't really bother with instruction booklets, and it's all in-game tutorials that teach you how to do whatever you gotta do. And the game does tell you certain things, but, like, it's not until after you have a couple of battles that you suddenly get this, like, in-game handbook on how to do battles. So I was like, okay. Also, I'm not sure what's going on with the combat system, because the battle system is weird, because you're just mashing X and then blocking occasionally. So it's like attack, attack, block, attack, attack, block. And I'm sure there's something I can be doing with my teammates where we time our attacks and stuff, but they're AI controlled, and I haven't figured it out yet. And I've been doing a bunch of battles inside this building, but I'm still kind of like, I'm not quite getting it. But I'm sure I will. And if I don't, whatever, it was only $10, I'm sure that I'll play it enough to get $10 worth of enjoyment out of Tales of Symphonia. Because they're not giving any good free games on PlayStation Plus that I want to play. They were doing it for a while. There were a lot of really great games that I already had. And I thought, well, you know, coming up there will be games that I haven't played, maybe. And now they're just games that I haven't played and don't really want to play. I mean, a FIFA soccer game? Oh well, maybe next month. We'll see. And I will see you back here next week. Same time, same channel. Bye.